All right, let's talk about something we've all seen, right? You've got this beautiful Wi-Fi network, perfectly designed, and then one tiny little setting brings the whole thing crashing down. Well, in this explainer, we're going to get right into those foundational network ID settings. You know, the ones that can make or break your network's performance and save you from a tidal wave of user support tickets. Let's dive in. Now, just so you know where we're coming from, all this great info is straight from a super detailed report by the pros over at RFI Detectives. They're part of Virtualization Options LLC. And just a heads up, this is part 3 of a big 10-part series we're doing. We're basically taking their deep dive report and translating into stuff you can actually use out in the field.
All right, so first on the list, network identity. I know, it sounds super basic, right? It's just the network name, but trust me, this is one of those things where the details really matter. This very first step in getting a device connected, well, it can have massive ripple effects on performance, security, and whether your users love you or hate you.
And you know, the RFI Detectives report really nails it with this quote. These settings really are the foundation. I mean, getting this stuff right is what separates a good tech from a great one, especially when you're trying to build something solid in the crazy crowded RF environments we're all swimming in every single day.
Okay, let's zoom in on the absolute heart of network identity, the SSID. We see these things 100 times a day, right? But what's actually happening under the hood? So the easiest way to think about the SSID is like a name tag at a conference. It's that human-friendly name for your wireless network. It's the thing that lets your phone or your laptop pick out, say, corporate Wi-Fi from that sea of Xfinity Wi-Fi and neighbors Wi-Fi don't use that you see everywhere.
But here's the thing, it's not just a passive name, it's an active part of the system. Your access point is constantly broadcasting this name inside something called a beacon frame. You can literally picture the AP just shouting over and over again every few milliseconds, "Hey, I'm over here, my name is corporate Wi-Fi." And that little announcement is the absolute key to how your devices even know a network exists in the first place.
So that constant shouting brings up a huge and honestly, a pretty classic question for us network techs. Do we let the AP shout its name for everyone to hear, or do we tell it to keep quiet and hide the SSID? Man, this is probably one of the most debated little checkboxes in all of Wi-Fi. Let's really get into it. Okay, so let's put these two options side by side. On one side, you have broadcast enabled. This is the default, the easy mode. The SSID is right there in the beacon frame, plain as day. It pops up on your device's list of networks, users click it, and they're on their way. Simple. But then you have broadcast disabled, what we all call a hidden network. Now, here's a key point. The AP is still sending out beacon frames. It has to. But the spot where the name should be is just blank. It's null. So when your laptop scans for networks, it sees nothing. It's invisible, which means your users have to connect completely manually. So how in the world does your device connect to a network it can't see? Well, it has to do its own shouting. Instead of listening, it starts yelling into the void. The user has to manually type in the network name, say top secret Wi-Fi. Then the device sends out something called a probe request, which is basically it screaming, "Is anyone out there named top secret Wi-Fi?" And only the access point that's configured with that exact name will hear it and send back a probe response that says, "Yep, that's me, over here." It's kind of like having to know the secret password just to get the door to appear.
Okay, theory is great. But what does this all mean for us, the folks who are actually in the trenches deploying and troubleshooting this stuff? How does this one little choice, visible versus hidden, actually impact our jobs?
Yeah, let's talk about your actual day-to-day toolkit. What do you need to keep in mind?
All right, here are the big takeaways for you as a tech. First, troubleshooting. Seriously, if a user comes to you saying, "I can't connect," a hidden SSID should be one of the very first things you ask about. It's a super common point of failure. Second, get ready to be a teacher. You will absolutely have to walk users through that manual connection process, and trust me, it's not obvious to most people. Third, the RF environment itself. All those devices shouting probe requests for hidden networks they've connected to before, that adds a ton of extra noise and eats up valuable airtime on your channels. And finally, and please, if you remember one thing, remember this. Hiding the SSID is not a security feature. Anyone with a free tool like Wireshark can just sit there and listen, and the second a device connects, they'll see that SSID in plain text. It's security through obscurity, which is to say, it's not security at all.
Which really leaves us with one last question to chew on. When you weigh all the cons, the troubleshooting headaches, the extra RF noise, the fact that it offers basically zero real security, is hiding an SSID ever the right move? So I'll leave you with this. The next time you're setting up a network and your mouse hovers over that Hide SSID checkbox, just stop and ask yourself, what problem am I actually solving here? Am I adding real security, or am I just making things more complicated for myself and my users down the road? Being able to answer that question, well, that's what being a pro is all about.